All right, greetings everybody. We are live again. Dynasty Mir Search for Huru. We have a special show for you all today. We have several real estate professionals from Miss Odette is from Ghana, Mr. Dawson's in Ghana as well, and Mr. Raleigh is in Nigeria. And once a week we're going to start doing our Property Talk Africa. And today we're going to be discussing owning real estate in Ghana, and since Mr. Raleigh is in Nigeria, we could also talk about the ways you can own real estate in Nigeria as well as a member of the diaspora, as a foreigner. As we all know, depending on the country, there's different rules and regulations in regards to if you can own land as a foreigner, or do you have to lease land. In a lot of countries, you could be a foreigner and own land. Some countries you can't. I'm serious. In my native in Sierra Leone, you have to be a citizen to own land, but in Nigeria, from understanding, you don't have to be a citizen to own land. So we'll talk about that, and today's focus is going to be primarily on Ghana and Nigeria. So I am Dynasty Mir. I am with OneAfrica Properties. Guys, make sure you go to OneAfricaProperties.com. The site, the link is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. We'll also be in the chat room and will be in the description. And what we're doing at OneAfrica Property, where we are your central source for land or property on the continent in Africa. So what we will do, ladies first, Miss Odette, if you could go ahead and introduce yourself and tell everybody where you're from and what you specialize in.
Okay, so I'm Odette. I'm not by training, but by, I ended up there because of some personal issues I had, and I had to stop working. And the only skill I knew was real estate because I've been managing properties from my youth for my father. So I entered that. That's the profession I'm in now. And so basically I formed this company, RMK Property Management, 2014. So it's been 7 years now. It was in January 2014. And we're still learning the terrains, but it's been good and quite exciting. Yep, so I'm done, I think.
It's just a little feedback on your end, but go ahead.
Yeah, so I did that. I gave a little bit about myself. I'm Odette Nyamikumi, and I started RMK in 2014, RMK Property Management, and I'm still learning the ropes, but we're getting there.
Okay, perfect. Mr. Dawson, go ahead.
Good. My name is James Dawson. I am a public land administrator in Ghana. Currently the technical director for lands at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, but a staff of the Lands Commission of Ghana. I am also a professional valuation and estate surveyor, and a fellow of the Ghana Institution of Surveyors, and a member of the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, and as well as the Commonwealth Association of Surveying and of Land Economy and Surveying, and I'm the Africa Regional President for the Commonwealth Association of Surveying and Land Economy. Thank you.
Mr. Raleigh, you're muted.
Sorry, I was actually muted. Hi everyone, my name is Wally Ebrozi. I currently lead corporate development and partnerships at Bungalow. Bungalow, we are a digital mortgage brokerage platform. What we do is that we have aggregated all of the lenders in Ghana and also in Nigeria, and then we're able to offer home loan solutions to Nigerians or Ghanaians abroad, or those residents, or even non-nationals in some instances. So customers come to our platform and then they can apply for a mortgage. Then once they apply, they get like 10, 15 different offers from different banks that are signed up on the platform. So I mean, it's just a creative technology, prop tech solution for the mortgage industry. Yeah, so that's what I know.
Mr. Raleigh, I would say this. Let's go ahead and I guess you're talking through your headphones because it's still an echo. I want everybody to be able to understand what everyone is saying. It's very important information. Maybe if you don't have headphones you can plug in, we'll just talk directly into your laptop. That would probably be easier. Mr. Dawson, so we'll go ahead and start off with, say one more time.
This is a lot better now.
It's a little bit better. We'll go ahead and we'll make it happen.
Nice.
It's probably clear up so good. Yeah.
Mr. Dawson, so we'll jump right into it. Owning land in real estate in Ghana as a foreigner. I've heard from it's a 40-year lease to 99-year lease to you can own land full out. If I'm a foreigner and I want to acquire property in Ghana, how's that process?
Thank you. Foreigners can own land in Ghana. The laws of the country, I mean, from the parent law, which is the Constitution of Ghana, allows foreigners to have in Ghana. So a foreigner can have up to a 50-year lease in land, which is renewable. And so so you are permitted, but you only have a leasehold interest for 50 years at a time, which is subject to renewal at the end of the 50 years. Thank you.
Okay, so when you say subject to renewable after the 50 years, say the individual who owns the land, say he passes away. Now, is it up to the children to renew that lease? And then say the original owner, he builds a home on some type of property on that land. If he does not renew that lease after 50 years, what happens to his assets? I think he froze up on us. Yeah, I think he froze up. Miss Odette, could you answer that question?
Well, I think the state takes ownership again, basically, if it doesn't renew the lease, because it's state property. You have to renew the lease with the regulator. So if you don't, the regulator will just take back their property. That's what that's what I know happens even with Ghanaians. If you don't renew your lease, the regulator has the right to come in and claim the property.
Okay. So you build your dream home on land, 50-year lease. Yeah. You don't renew the lease. The person who owns that land can come and pretty much acquire your property as well that you built.
The line's very bad, unfortunately. I can barely hear you.
Okay. Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties. Yeah, Mr. Dawson, he dropped off. Odette, Miss Odette, are you on your laptop now? Or are you still on your phone?
I'm still on my phone. My laptop, it's working, but I didn't have Chrome, and I was trying to download it, and something funny, something happened. So I'm on my phone right now.
Okay.
I couldn't download it on my laptop.
Okay. So if a foreigner buys land in Ghana, 50-year lease, he builds his dream home on that property. He does not renew his lease. He's a subject to lose that property possibly. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, if he doesn't renew his lease. So I'll just give it a particular case from my point. I have just renewed my lease with my regulator. You're given at least 15 years grace. You're supposed to do it within 15 years before the final renewal date. Mm-hmm. So I did mine a couple of years ago. So I renewed my lease, yes.
Okay. You said regulator. Well,
and because they're getting rather strict in Ghana right now, because what's happening is they find that a lot of people are not renewing their lease. And so many of the properties and the lands out there are actually have years have gone by where leases haven't been renewed. So there's a clampdown now on, renewal of leases and payment of property rates, etc., because the regulatory body themselves have been lax.
Okay. Now, what's the advantages of leasehold versus freehold? You know, leasehold where you have to renew a lease versus just buying the land outright.
Yes. So what it is leasehold is that the lease is owned by like an originator, in this case maybe the state or somebody, and freehold is owned usually by chiefs or some private institution or private person. So they own it, so they can give it to you for the freehold. You hold it forever, so you don't have to renew with freehold. It's sort of you own it forever.
Am I on?
Free number of years. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you. Go ahead.
Hello.
You're on, but we can't see you. You're on. We can't see you though, but you're on.
Okay, but for someone who's acquiring property in Africa, would you recommend leasehold or would you recommend freehold in regards to acquiring property? What would you recommend?
Oh, either actually. I think they're both good. It depends. I mean, with freehold, you have to make sure that there's no problem with the land, there's no encumbrances on the land. So, you know, you have to have all those things checked out. With leasehold as well, it's probably be good. But I think with freehold, because, you know, I can come and say it's my property and it's freehold. And because it's not owned and regulated by an institution or sort of body, you can't be able to keep tabs on who owns it or whatever. So it's best to have, if you're going to buy freehold, to have it really, you know, searched properly. Usually it should be best if it's called titled. You get a title certificate, which shows that they have worked through the processes and it has gone through the whole investigation stages to show that there are no properties, there are no problems on the land. And that's when at the end of the whole search process, you're given a title certificate to show that the land is free of any problems, any litigation, anything, because it's gone through all the various investigations. Yeah. So, you know, either way, you can get freehold or leasehold, depends. Usually freehold tends to be a little bit more expensive because they're giving away something that you can't value. You know, with property is valued based on the number of years you have on the lease. So if I have a property which initially had a 60-year lease and about 4 years left on the lease, if I was going to sell that property, I won't be able to sell it for quite a lot of money. If the property is valued at 1.2 million, for example, I won't be able to sell it at 1.2 million because I have only 4 years left on the lease. So I'll probably have to sell it for 600,000 or less. But if I renew my lease, I can then definitely sell it for 1.2 million. So the value of the property sort of correlates to the number of years you have left on the lease. So I think with freehold, it's there'll be a bit more value on there because you don't have years. The years are limitless. You're holding it forever.
Yeah. Now, Odette, you mentioned regulator. Who is the regulator in regards to leasing property?
The regulator in Ghana. Yeah. So in Ghana, we have two bodies in Accra. I know, State Housing Corporation, okay, and the Lands Commission. Lands Commission, I think, is the overall regulator because I think they lease to state housing because my property is owned by state housing, but on the indenture you see that they have been leased. They have the lessees and the lessor state. It's Lands Commission. So Lands Commission has a total of 99 years, and then they give out 60 years to the lessee. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, what's the difference?
We have Lands Commission, state housing.
Okay. So what's the difference between I guess the land you have? So I guess the land that you're on is owned by the government, correct?
So it wasn't land. So there's a house on it. There's the house built on it. So the house we have a couple of houses. The one that we have is owned by state housing. The other one is owned by Lands Commission. Okay, so Lands. He's trying to get. You're on mute now.
No, I muted him because it was some feedback coming back. But go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yes. So Lands Commission, as I said, so this one that we just renewed is owned by state housing. So we have to go back to state housing. But again, we always have to go to Lands Commission, who have to then register the documents into their files because they are the overall sort of regulator, overall boss.
Okay.
But Mr. James should be in a better position to tell you on that.
Okay. Mr. James, what's
Yeah.
so what's the difference between? So I hear the term stool land when I'm in Ghana. I've heard this term called stool land. What exactly is stool land?
Mm-hmm.
What stool land is land that is managed by our chiefs, or our chiefs or clan heads. That because they call it stool because symbolically the chiefs sit on a stool. That's so they call it. That is how come we have that name. But that is for the southern part of Ghana. In the northern part of Ghana, they sit on the skin of an animal. Could be a leopard or whatever, and so they call theirs skin land, but it is the same land that is managed by the chiefs or clan heads or farm that is known as stool land. Then we also have family land, that is land that is managed by the head of family on behalf of the subjects of the family. So that is how stool land is derived.
Now, in your opinion, as far as for someone who wants to acquire land in Ghana, what would be better, to lease it or to completely own it? So leasehold or freehold? What do you think would be more advantageous for individuals?
All right. You are actually not, strictly speaking, not at liberty to choose to lease or to own. Our laws require that for every stool land,
50 years.
you can have a leasehold. It can be even 99 years. But for stool land, you can only have a leasehold. And also for state land, land that is owned by the state and managed by the Lands Commission, you can only have a leasehold interest in it. And so that is the distinction. It is if as a Ghanaian, if land belongs to a family or an individual and you're a Ghanaian, you may get a freehold interest in it. But now, even the families are giving out land only on leasehold basis. So freehold is actually becoming extinct in Ghana.
Oh wow, wow. Brother Wally. So in Nigeria, we're gonna jump to Nigeria real quick. The land owning regulations and rules. As a foreigner, can you own land in Nigeria?
Well, I think I would say it's quite dicey. Prior to 2017, it was very easy for foreigners to own land, own property in Nigeria. But there was this landmark Supreme Court judgment, in 2017, late 2017, that sort of restricted foreigners. But like about Nigeria, enforcement is usually a challenge. So we still have cases where foreigners are owning property, but what we usually suggest is probably to own through a corporate entity. You can register a local corporate entity and own property through that local corporate entity. So it usually works that way. Yeah. But I mean, also on the lease question, like we're talking about Ghana, it's the same thing in Nigeria. So all land is vested, and owned by government, and then you get a 99-year lease from the government. So that's how it is in Nigeria as well too. You can't choose whether it's freehold or it's leasehold. It's fully vested in government, and you get a leasehold on the land. Yeah.
Really, I thought Nigeria was freehold.
No, it's lease. It's lease. 99-year lease. So all land is owned by government. So you get a lease on property, on land.
Okay, so if I buy a home in Lekki, you're saying that it's just a 99-year lease when I buy that home?
Yeah, there's a 99-year lease on the land. Yes, because it's owned by government. So all land is vested, in government, particularly the state government. So the state governor has the right, to over all lands. Yeah.
Okay, so once I buy my property, we'll say Lekki, Ibeju Lekki.
Yep.
After that 99, I have my home. After that 99 years, what happens?
You have to go for a renewal. So you renew it just like you have in Ghana. You renew the lease.
and you get a new 99-year lease on it.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'm a freehold guy. Just give me my land, I'll pay for it, and I'm done. Like, I
You,
mean,
you know how
my
governments
concern is,
are here. You can't really decide a lot. Government
yeah,
has stipulated what should be, and that's it.
yeah. I'm just I pay for my land, pay my taxes. 'Cause I'm afraid you build your big compound, then 99 years later, somebody forgets to renew the lease. Then what happens to your compound?
Can I come in here?
Yeah, please go ahead, Mr. Dawson. Please go ahead.
Right. You see, in the case of Ghana, your lease, there are exceptional cases in which your lease may not be renewed. If, for example, where your building is has been rezoned and say a highway or an airport is going to be built there,
Eminent domain.
then yes, then you will be compensated for that land, either a cash compensation or you are given property of equivalent value, something like that. And so, but otherwise, you you will have your lease renewed. Of course, within the lease, there are certain clauses. So, if, for example, you never develop the property, or you abandon the property and the property run into ruins, and then at the end of the 99 years, or your ground rent, you fail to pay your ground rent throughout the period, it means that you went contrary to the clauses, or then your lease may not be renewed for you. But so long as the property is in a tenantable state and you comply with all the covenants contained in the lease, then your lease will be renewed for you.
Let's see. What now in Ghana? What should people look out for if they're buying land? So I've heard one person tried to sell the land to 5 different people. I've heard horror stories like that. Like, what, Mr. Dawson? What should people look out for, and how can they avoid something like that happening to them?
Well, that's a difficult question, but let me try and answer. We always educate the public that when you are going to buy land, you should conduct what we term as an official search at the Lands Commission to be sure that the person selling the land, if Prince is the one selling the land to you, that the land is registered for Prince. And then we will go further to also ensure from the planning authorities that I want to buy this house for residential purposes. Per the zoning regulations, is it for that purpose? Is it zoned for residential? Then you can, through the solicitors, they will come in there and prepare the document after your negotiation between the parties. Now, sometimes you may buy land and you may run into litigation because somebody else may come claiming the land, and that is where we have the courts coming in to rule on who is the owner of the land. We have situations where people, first of all, do not register the land, or they sell the land to one person, and because the person maybe after a year or two has not started developing, then they will go ahead and sell it to another person. Then this second person goes on the land only for the first person to come back. Then we will run into all sorts of litigation. We have situations too, especially with some of our stool land areas or family land areas, where one chief dies and he sells the land before he dies, and the records on the sale are not formally kept within the secretariat of the stool. And so another chief comes, once the land is undeveloped, he goes ahead and sells it, only for the first person to come up to say that this land was sold to me by Chief A or by your predecessor. So these are some of the reasons why we have the multiple sales going on. But ideally, what we advise is that once you are buying land, make sure that you conduct a search to determine that the person you are buying the land from is a rightful owner. Currently, we have a new Land Act, Act 1030 36 of 2020, which even states that even the stool that is selling land, the stool must first of all register its paramount interest, that is the allodial interest in that piece of land, before they can make any grants or any sale to people. That is how we are trying to resolve this problem. But as I said, the processes are spelled out. You conduct your searches, and then you make sure that you are dealing with the right person. Thank you.
Okay, perfect.
Mr. Datson, can I just come in here?
Yes, please.
So is it also advisable also to try and get them to give you a title certificate? Because then the title certificate, you know that they've been through the whole investigation and it has been cleared. So that's when you know that probably the land is definitely safe from any other litigation or that.
Yes, if the land is in Greater Accra, the ultimate is a title certificate, and then some parts of Kumasi. The rest of the country is still doing the deeds registration system. So if it is in Cape Coast, once you have a deed registered document, that means that in the records of the Lands Commission in Cape Coast, yes, you are the owner of that piece of land.
Okay.
Okay, let me just jump in. Prince, we actually recommend that foreigners or diaspora, whether you're a national or a non-national, whenever you're dealing with anything property related in the local markets, we recommend that you engage a professional party. What we have seen, like for example, my company, part of the problems that we saw was that a lot of Nigerians abroad or Ghanaians abroad were engaging family and friends to get property, and these people are not very vast in land use administration and all of that. So there has been a lot of challenges. So we actually recommend that everyone uses a professional party, either bungalow or even OneAfrica Properties, so that we can actually carry on all of the verification. Go to the land commission in Nigeria. It's the Ministry of Lands and Survey. Carry out all of the title search on documents to ensure that the land is actually owned by, or the property itself is actually owned by who is selling it to you, to avoid all of these challenges that have been happening in the past.
Yeah. Miss Odette, you could probably answer this question, or anyone on the panel. So in America, we have this term. Yes, in America, we have this term called mortgage. So you find a home. You put, she dropped off. All right, okay, well, for Mr. Raleigh and Mr. Dawson, mortgages, financing, how is that made available for those of the diaspora? Or pretty much if you're a foreigner and you want to buy property, do you have to pay straight cash? Like, are there any financing options? Are there any financing options? Any banks you could go to as part of the diaspora where you could get what we call a mortgage?
If you could start that again, because I went off for a while, for a minute. My connection was dead. So your question again?
If I'm for people in the diaspora who want to own property, in Africa, or in Ghana, for people in the diaspora, can they find financing for these properties?
Yes, well, there's so many home financing companies. Of course, I don't know what their regulations are and what they are. So, you have to find the right one. I think with Aurelia, she's found one company that are willing. So she's got a client who's interested. So the link is set up. So it depends on which, on the mortgage finance company that's ready to deal with foreigners. I dealt with one the last time, and they were willing, but there had to be some qualifications that he needed to satisfy before they were willing to go forward. So they all come with their own special peculiarities, but I'm sure they'll be willing. Yes.
Ms. Odette, can you go into detail in regards to some of those? What they have, how are they? What do they need to bring to the table in order to qualify for the financing? The requirements.
What did they need to bring to the
requirements?
Oh, well, this was a while back, so I can't remember off the top of my head what they needed. I can just go back and check in a minute. But But it depends. They dealt with the client directly. I did the introduction and I left them, and I know that they were talking, but there were certain things that he sent to me that they needed to satisfy before they were willing to go forward. Let me see, mortgage.
Okay, Mr. Walker.
Let me take on this question. My company, we're actually playing actively in the mortgage space, both in Accra and Lagos, Nigeria. So let me just take this on. So we're actually, so I told you our platform has aggregated all the banks, whether it's in Accra or it's in Ghana. So as Accra is in Lagos. So what this does for you is that we can now tell you the banks that can serve you and the banks that cannot serve you. So, for example, there are banks in Accra today that would not serve a foreign national, who want to buy property with a mortgage in Ghana. There are also banks in Lagos that will not serve foreign nationals. Actually, most banks won't serve foreign nationals. But for example, in Lagos, they are focused on pure diaspora. So that means you have origin in Nigeria, but you have lived abroad. But there are banks in Accra that will serve foreigners. So that's what we do as a platform. We have aggregated all of these banks, so we can now show you, based on the information you're provided to us, we can now show you the bank that will serve you and the bank that will not serve you. So for a foreign national, what some of the banks in Accra have done is that they would require a higher down payment threshold. So if you're a UK citizen, you're not originally from Accra, and you are looking to relocate to Accra, buy property on a mortgage to relocate to Accra, so you'll be required to put down a higher down payment. So, for example, the minimum down payment to get a mortgage in Accra is actually 20% for most of the banks that we work with. That means you get an 80% loan to value. So the bank finances remaining 80%, and you provide 20%. But for diasporas, when I say diaspora, I'm referring to someone who is from Ghana originally, but is now living abroad, and you want to buy property back in Ghana. So you actually put down a down payment of 30%. But for a non-national, a non-Ghanaian who wants to buy property in Ghana, you have to put down a high down payment of 50%, in the property, because it's just a lot riskier for the banks. It's a lot riskier for all of the lenders. So they are lending, the remaining 50% loan to value ratio, which will give you over, as long as 20 years. I mean, there are several other documents that they will require from,
Well, you said you could finance over a course of 20 years. Yes,
you can get a loan for as long as 20 years.
What's usually the interest rate? How do they? Go ahead.
Awesome. So the banks are able to offer loans in different currencies. But the majority of loans that we have or we are seeing across banks is actually CD loans, and we actually tell customers that although the interest rates are usually higher, in nominal terms, when you look at it on a scale, it's actually priced off the MPR, which is the monetary policy rate in Ghana, plus a spread of about 9%. So roughly mortgage rates in terms of CDs are as high as 20%.
Gosh.
Or as low as 20%.
Oh gosh.
It's the risks that are in the economy that feed into those rate pricing. But you can get a dollar loan from some of the banks that we work with. But I'm saying some of the banks because not all banks will provide dollar loans. Most banks will provide CD loans. But the benefit of a CD loan is that you get the devaluation. So you catch it on devaluation gains. So the CD as for the past 25 years, depreciated by as much as 10-15% on an annual basis. So what that means is that if you have a CD repayment schedule, you are now paying less on a dollar basis because you earn hard currency. It becomes cheaper for you over the life of the loan. So you can imagine your over a 20-year period, the CD is devaluing by 10-15%, almost every year. So you have savings, in terms of how much you are paying back, on those equal monthly installments on a dollar basis. But then if you take out a dollar loan, then you are not exposed to those devaluation gains. You don't have any savings at all whenever there's a devaluation, because you are exposed. It's a dollar to dollar, matching. So the interest rate in dollar terms that we see, is actually as low as 12.5%. but it's not what you have in the US, where you have mortgage rate as low as 1%, 2%. Why? Because that's a developed market. Cost of capital is very cheap as well, but here cost of capital is very high. Inflation rates are also in single digit territory, in mid to high single digit territory. So interest rates are actually a little high. Some of the banks also have pound loans for those who are in the UK, and you can get pound loans as low as 11%. But then again, let me put out a disclaimer for CD loans. Most banks would do a maximum of 10 years. There are some banks that can do 20 years. Same for dollar loans, same for pound loans. There's usually a cap. So it all depends on the bank. So it's best that you apply through a platform like Bungalow, so that you can now see what the banks can give you and what best terms you can get from those banks. But then again, like I was talking about documents are super important for non-nationals and diaspora, particularly the credit reports, because we want to see how your credit behavior has been in the markets where you're coming from, because like I said, the past is always it always foretells the future. So if you have a bad credit standing in the US, then it tells us that you might also want to default on your loan that you have taken with us. So we like to see those Experian and TransUnion credit reports and any other credit reports. So we mandate the customers to usually pull out these reports directly from by themselves and send them over to us. So there's also need for proof of residency. We want to understand that you're actually resident where you said you are resident. So we'll look out for your proof of residency or citizenship in that foreign country, alongside your pay slips. In some cases, the banks also require an introduction letter from your employer in wherever you are. If you are a salaried worker in the diaspora who wants a loan here, so the banks will usually require you to, in some cases, it depends on the bank as well, to get an introduction from your employer. But then again, you would definitely have to submit your pay slips, your employment contract, and all other documents, bank statements, all of that, to show your proof of income.
Okay. Mr. Dawson, as far as I know in Africa things are compared to in America when it comes to keeping documents and proof of ownership. It could be kind of archaic. My understanding, everything's being shifted and going digital now. How's that process going?
I didn't get the last part.
Everything, the process of digitizing all of the records as far as for ownership and land. How is that going?
Well, it is going on very well. We actually started what is known as the Ghana Enterprise Land Information System at the Lands Commission, where we have we've done a pilot of 4 areas within the Accra metropolitan area, and so all documents that come in there from the start to the end, it's all done in a digital environment. What we're doing is that we're scanning all the existing records, and once that is done, we will be rolling it out systematically, so that we're starting with Accra and we'll move to the other regions. What is also being done is that it's been identified that the Lands Commission, which has the records on land and which does all land registration, would require some external assistance. So we've done 2 years ago, we did a market sounding event, and we have managed to get some development partners who are bringing in from the private sector, who are bringing in their own technical expertise and also bringing the needed finance to make sure that becomes a catalyst to speed up this whole process of digitization. So that is the story so far. We are doing it systematically. Of course, we've held manual records for over 100 years, so it is not a simple process. And we're also putting in measures to map the whole country digitally, so that, and then to put up core continuous referencing stations. These are monumental points where surveyors will use in referencing all survey work that will be done in the country. So these are the measures that are in place now. Currently, some of the services, if you want to do, I talked about an official search to determine who owns a parcel of land. Within the pilot area that we're talking about, you can actually do a search from the records of the Lands Commission to determine the ownership or the records information, the root of title on any parcel of land within that subject area, and it is moving on quite well.
And we might have covered this somewhat as far as the exact steps for owning land and verifying who owns the land, and let's say, like, how does the Land Commission go about, and what role does the Land Commission play in verifying who owns land?
Yeah, the Lands Commission is the only entity that is responsible for the registration of land in Ghana. And so to that extent, if you want to know who owns a particular parcel of land, that is where you go to conduct your official search. So all records on land transactions are kept at the Lands Commission. Okay. If I have a lease...
No, I think he froze up on us. Guys, please hit that like button. I think Brother Dawson...
the land's gone.
I think he froze up on us. Okay, Miss Odette, can you finish from where he left off?
So he was. What was the question again?
For someone who's buying land, what are the exact steps that they would take to verify ownership within the Lands Commission? Would this start after the purchase agreement?
So as Mr. Dawson was saying, you go to the Lands Commission to conduct a search. Okay, so the search is going to come out to let you know if the seller is the rightful owner of the property and has the right to sell the land. There's no encumbrance or anything on the land. So you start with that, and then after that, you get the buyer and the seller then have to agree on what the steps will be, changing of names and changing of documents, etc. After that, then you sign your SMP, your sales and purchase agreements, and let me see. Hold on a second. But these are the steps. I don't know. I always have to read it, but then hold on. But these are the steps that you need to take. At least the first step is just to get the search done. And once the search is done, then between you and the buyer, and the seller and the buyer, you agree on the terms of the figure, and then the title change, etc. The payment of the conveyance, the deed of conveyance, and all that has to be settled, and then everything moves into gear.
Okay. Now, Mr. Raleigh, for people who are interested in, I guess, financing homes in Ghana or in Nigeria, how can they reach you so they could, I guess, get more information so they could be walked through the process?
Yep, definitely. So you can actually apply. So it's www.bongalow. Bongalow is spelled BONGALOW. So www.bongalow.com. You can apply on the platform, and our dedicated mortgage specialist teams will reach out to you either in Accra or in Lagos, Nigeria.
Okay. All right, let's see here. Yeah, you guys, and we'll go ahead and wait a couple minutes for Brother Mr. Dawson to come back on.
Yeah,
Mr. Dawson to come back on. But what I'll do, I'll go ahead and share the screen, guys. When you guys get a chance, make sure. Let me just clear some of this stuff out of here. Here we go. Mr. Dawson's back.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, Mr. Dawson.
Sorry.
No problem. We had lost you. Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So as I was saying, so it's the Lands Commission that registers. In fact, more or less has the monopoly of land registration. So if you have a mortgage, that's where it is registered. So there can be 1,000 transactions on a parcel of land, but that is where it is registered. So if you are interested in any parcel of land, that is where you go to conduct a search. When you have done that and you're satisfied that it is Mr. Dawson, who owns this parcel of land. Of course, the issues are as to the lease term that he has, the user, how much rent is being paid, and all of that is held in the records. Then you would also go ahead to check on from the planning authorities at the district or metropolitan or municipal assembly as to what the land has been zoned for within the planning scheme. Yes, which is also very, very important, that it must, whatever your intended user must conform to what is there as far as the zoning regulations are concerned, rules and everything. Then, of course, your solicitor will come in to prepare the land, the transfer document between the two parties. If it is land for a family or a stool, then the chief or head of family and his elders will sign as a lessor, and then you will sign with your witness as the lessee. Then we will proceed to go to the court to do the oath of proof. These are all the legal bits of it. The document will be submitted at the Lands Commission for stamping at the Land Valuation Division. Then it will be submitted to the Land Registration Division for the title certificate. Now, the site plan that is used must be we call it a barcoded plan. So it has to be prepared by a licensed surveyor and endorsed by the regional surveyor. Otherwise, it will not be accepted for registration. So it is very important that your plan is prepared by a licensed surveyor and endorsed by in fact, they call it the director of survey or his representative. So the representative is a regional surveyor in any particular region where the site plan is being prepared. Then the land is good for submission at the registry for registration. Then your document will be registered for you. Of course, you are buying the land or you are leasing the land for a development. So you would now submit your development plan to the district assembly where the land is, and then the planning committee will look at it to see that your architectural designs are okay, and then they will give you the permit to build your house on that parcel of land. So that is the process.
Yeah. Now, Mr. Dawson, say you go through the entire process as you laid it out. If somebody 5 years later comes and says, you know what, the person that sold you the land wasn't supposed to sell you the land, I own the land. Like what can happen?
See, if you have a land title certificate, the law states that the certificate is one that is guaranteed by the state, unless it is proven that you obtained it by fraud.
Gotcha.
So if another person comes up to say that this land belongs to me, the onus lies on him to show proof that the land is for him, in which case he has to go to court and go and testify in court that the land that has been sold to you is indeed for him. If, for example, there's litigation at the time you bought the land from a particular family, they own the land, and then some other family also goes to court to litigate with this first family that you bought the land from, and they win the case, our laws require that you will have to atone tenancy to the new owners. But you, as the one, if it is proven that you are an innocent purchaser, then ordinarily you would not lose the parcel of land unless it is proven that you were duly served notice and you still ignored it and went ahead and purchased the land and went to process it. So there are various processes or remedies that are available to either party to prove their case as far as ownership is concerned. But the straight line approach is what I've given you. In the absence of any litigation or any counterclaim, those are the processes that you will go through to have your title over a parcel of land in Ghana. Okay.
So, and this will be our final question, and then we're going to pull up the OneAfrica Property site. We actually have land and properties for sale in Ghana and Nigeria. And we'll start with you, Mr. Raleigh. Why Africa? Why should the diaspora start looking to acquire land and property in Africa?
I mean, it's really simple. For me, I mean, for us, Africa is the next frontier. Rest of the world has taken off. So why don't you want to invest in what's going to take off next? So you can picture from an investment standpoint. Africa is the next frontier, and we are really pitching that you own land, own property here, so that you can have a piece of the pie in the next frontier.
Miss Odette.
Yes, I didn't hear the question, because my line is muffled. But you can ask the question again.
Why should a diaspora consider owning land and property in Africa?
In Africa or Ghana?
Well, okay, we can say in Ghana.
Yeah. So in Ghana, well, for starters, Ghana is known for its peaceful environment, its peaceful terrain. Ghanaians are friendly and welcoming to all foreigners. We did the return beyond the return initiative, inviting all the aspirants back home. So we're welcoming with open arms, and we're ready to assist and make them feel comfortable. If you saw the news a couple of days ago, Stevie Wonder is thinking of relocating to Ghana. Right. So Ghana is up there on the map, and we're hoping that we can attract more people.
Yep. Sorry, Prince. Let me add something. It's a lot cheaper to retire in Africa.
Right.
Yes. If you're in the diaspora, you have made so much money throughout your working years. So why do you want to keep spending all that money in the US and UK? Where cost of living is just too high. So why don't you just return to your home country and live like a king? So it's just a lot cheaper to retire in Africa. I mean also getting a second home here when you come back on vacation. Just having that vacation home. Where loved ones and family can also stay while you're away. Yep.
Okay. And Mr. Dawson, we have one more question too. What would your recommendations be in regards to, say you buy land, you're gonna wait a couple years to build on it. How do you protect your land so people don't encroach on it? What would you recommend?
Well, it depends on where the land is. If you have land in an area where there are a few scattered developments there, we actually recommend that you may have a structure on the land. It can be a container or whatever, and then there's a caretaker on the land. So that shows that there's some physical presence. Or you may put up a fence wall around your property, and then you regularly go and ensure that the land is cleared, and you visit your land. I mean, once your land is registered, ideally you didn't have to go through all of this. But the reality is that we always have people who go around and encroaching on other people's land, etc., etc. So we say that make sure that you have a fence around your house and regularly visit your land and have a caretaker. If you have a neighbor who has developed his land, then you can inform the neighbor to always watch out for your land, for anybody who will come in there to attempt to encroach on your land and make a report to you. I mean, these days, because of technology, everybody has a cell phone or a mobile phone, so you're just a phone call away, and that is how you can protect your land. Because we've had situations where people have abandoned their land, they never visited their land. 2, 3, 5 years down the line, you go there and somebody has put up a mansion on your land, and then you are now going to run into litigation and all that. But ideally, if you buy land, you shouldn't run into any of these problems. Just make sure that your land is registered. If anybody is going in and attempting to take your land, or somebody wants to sell the land to you, they will also go and do a search, and your name will pop up as the owner of the land, and that is supposed to be the end of that, unless they want to do something fraudulent.
And then, as far as acquiring land in Africa, why should the diaspora look to start acquiring land and properties in Africa, on the continent?
Well, I think that there are lots of opportunities in Africa. Let me use Ghana as an example. It's definitely the destination of choice currently. We have oil, we have a lot of resources, and we have peace. I mean, in Ghana, people are free to move about. Our democracy has been tried and tested over the years, and so far it's been good. It's a very peaceful nation, and you don't want to invest in chaos. You don't want to invest in an environment where you cannot have your peace of mind to enjoy your investment. A lot of tourists come to Ghana, and there's also prime land for development. People are putting up hotels. People are going into agriculture. The investment opportunities are massive, and our Ghana Investment Promotion Center is there to aid any foreigner or anybody from the diaspora who wants to come and invest in Ghana. And so far, the story has been good. We have laws also that protect both the indigene and also the foreigner who is coming to invest in Ghana. Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys, everyone, thank you so much for joining. And people, please visit the OneAfrica Property site. Let me go ahead and share the screen and pull it up. Please visit OneAfrica Properties. We're adding new listings every day. Again, and we're going to be your central source for land or property on the continent. We have some new listings in Ghana and in Nigeria. So please visit OneAfricaProperties.com, OneAfricaProperties.com. Me and my business partner Aurelia, we've put this together. So again, please visit OneAfricaProperties.com. I believe someone in the chat room mentioned they're looking for land in Ghana. Well, again, go to OneAfricaProperties.com and you can see what is available in Ghana. So OneAfricaProperties.com. Everyone, thank you. Thank you so much for joining. Guys,
Right,
hit that like button.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem. No problem. We should be back on next weekend. Until then, everyone, thank you so much.
Okay.
Like, share,
Thank you.
subscribe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Go to OneAfricaProperties.com. Again, please go to OneAfricaProperties.com. Until next time, family, Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. Peace.
Bye.